So, welcome everyone. I think we can start maybe. So, just taking a moment with the mother to gather ourselves. Invoking her presence, invoking Sri Aurobindo's presence. So, today we have two prayers and we will see if we can take both of them. So, starting with April 20, 1914. And I think since Mother and Sri Aurobindo are guiding us on the path, plunging into human consciousness, and that's why these phases which we can relate with, that we also go through. Otherwise, one cannot guide, if one doesn't plunge oneself. So that's what we call as divine sacrifice, that the divine plunges itself, himself, into this human limited mortal consciousness so that one can be shown how to move ahead. So this, I think, both of the prayers are, again, all the prayers are like that. So today also the prayers that we have, very very relatable, because we feel and have these experiences on the path. So yeah, would anyone want to read it out? April 20, 1914.
I'll read.
Okay. Yeah.
April 20, 1914. After having hoped so much, after having believed that my outer being was at last to become an instrument adapted to thy purpose, after feeling hopeful that I would at last be delivered from this obscure and cumbersome self, I feel I am as far from the goal as before, as ignorant, as egoistic as I was before this great expectation. And the path stretches out once again, interminable, across fields of inconscience. Blind door has closed again, and I find myself still on the threshold of the sanctuary without being able to enter within. But I have learned to look at everything with a smile and a tranquil heart. I ask only let me make any mistakes. I bow to thee, O Lord, with a deep and pure.
Yeah, thank you. Was it cracking
Yeah,
for
yeah.
me?
No. I was thrown out and it connected again. So
Okay.
I just हाँ, अपने आप
Okay, okay. Thrown out.
हाँ
Good one.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, would you like to read it again? Because, yeah.
Then should I read the whole prayer
Yeah,
again?
why not? Maybe a little bit
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Huh?
even I couldn't hear anything.
Yes, yes. So a
Oh.
little slow,
Okay.
and you can read it again, please. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. April 20th, 1914. After having hoped so much, after having believed that my outer being was at last to become an instrument adapted to thy purpose, after feeling hopeful that I would at last be delivered from this obscure and cumbersome self, I feel I am as far from the goal as before, as ignorant, as egoistic as I was before this great expectation. And the path stretches out once again, interminable, across the fields of inconscience. The sublime door has closed again, and I find myself still on the threshold of the sanctuary without being able to enter within. But I have learned to look at everything with a smile and a tranquil heart. I ask only this of thee, O my divine master, not to let me make any mistakes, even if the instrument is still condemned for a time to unconsciousness. Grant that it may let itself be guided faithfully and docilely by thy divine law. I bow to thee, O Lord, with a deep and pure devotion. O, be the sovereign master of all hearts.
Thank you, Shweta.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very beautiful, Monica.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have anything, please go ahead. I was just inviting reflections only. So feel free to share, anyone, if you have reflections.
It's so relatable now. Matlab, it's so nice that, okay, you know, uh, mother is writing this, like, so just that you feel very assured.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the solace we get again and again. We are not alone. Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second. Yeah. Did anyone speak anything? I missed out. Yeah, would anyone want to share anything at this moment? Maybe we can again go step by step and see. So I think many a times, in our on our path, I think for us it can be again too early to say that, oh, I thought I'm rid of this outer instrument, cumbersome self. But with mother, we know that she has been, already by this time has had so many realizations, practical realizations of the Gita, and all that, and living with the psychic being. And also later on she's able to leave the psychic being in Pondicherry and go from Pondicherry somewhere else. So not to compare, but knowing that we have these kind of things on the path, it's not abnormal to have these kind of confusions, doubts, and plunging into darkness after having glimpsed something beautiful. So mother is saying that after having hoped so much, after having believed that my outer being was at last to become an instrument adapted to thy purpose. Now we have to know that already so much preparation has gone in, so much discipline, so much focus on sadhana. After all that, now there was a hope that, okay, now maybe the instrument is ready. Instrument is adapted to thy purpose. After feeling hopeful that I would at last be delivered from this obscure and cumbersome self. By chance, I don't know if anything is by chance, but in Synthesis of Yoga, which we were reading in Savitri, we are about to start this chapter only after release from heart and mind, release from the ego sense. So we have to know that it's easy to just talk about release from ego sense, while it is a long, long process and journey to really be rid of the ego sense. So we know that all that preparation is gone in when this prayer is being written. So now, having this hope that one is preparing, and now at least the grace will deliver oneself of this cumbersome, like you are having some burden that you are kind of carrying on your back. That's how it feels, the ego sense, always one has to carry something like a burden of being self. So now, after feeling hopeful that I would at last be delivered from this obscure and cumbersome self, I feel I am as far from the goal as before, as ignorant, as egoistic as I was before this great expectation. So I think this would only be seen by a person who has made the temple so clean, so neat and clean that even a speck of dust is seen. Only then one can say that, oh, it is still there. You know, like we say, dal mein kuch kala hai, so it's like if the whole dal is kali, then we don't see anything, we are not conscious. But when now we are making it purer, the being purer and purer, then even a drop of ego ripple we can see, or if a drop of darkness is there we can see, because usually now we are habituated to a neat and clean sanctuary. We are habituated now to purity and not used to live in impurities and darkness and struggles. So she says that now, even now, I am as ignorant, as egoistic as I was before. Why would she say that? And the path stretches out once again, interminable. So, as if, oh my God, I have still to travel so far. So, again, one feels so far away from that absolute purity that one is aiming at. The path stretches out once again, interminable, across the fields of inconscience, darkness. One doesn't know how to really go through what I'm going through. And this is what we feel from time to time, no matter whether we are there where mother is right now, but from time to time, no matter how beautiful experiences we may have on the way, nice connections with grace and the divine within, even then we know that we have from time to time these periods of darkness or real challenges coming our way. And then one questions that, am I still there? No, am I still there? Has nothing happened? But we have to know that it's not like a circle, it's like spiral. We are like in a spiral going forward. But still we have to, again and again we have to visit the dark places again, because they too have to be transformed. And I think Alokda uses this example of how if there is a family going, father, mother and little children are going, then in that, the father maybe goes ahead and goes forward, but the kids are not ready, they are stumbling and trying to walk. So the father has to stop and maybe come back again so as to take the kids along. So that's what happens with us, that a couple of parts in us are ready to move forward, to go towards greater light. Others have not left their stubbornness, they are still very stubborn, that no, I will get it, no, I will get it. We may not admit it, we may not even see it, but that's why we again come back to darkness, because there are parts which still are sticking and not ready. They just want some more time, not convinced whether they want to still go ahead with everything. So which is a good thing, this coming back again is a good thing, because then a total clean victory can be there. If we are pulled back, it means that there is something that needs to be still seen. So we can be glad about that we are there, that one gets a chance to revisit again, like in examinations we have time to revise, not sure whether we would like to recall those experiences, but in examinations, in schools we used to have, if one finishes in time, then the chance to revise the paper that one has written. So there it's good when we are getting to revise, because then we see, oh, there are still errors, something maybe I can make more perfect. Yeah. So, and the path stretches out once again. Please keep sharing and feel free to come in between. It's not that, but you will stop the flow. Interminable across the fields of inconscience. The sublime door has closed again, and I find myself still on the threshold of the sanctuary without being able to enter within. So it's like, you have created a beautiful space within, and you are mostly in touch with that space. The inner being is really ready, with the divine presence. But the journey in integral yoga is not just the inner being, it is also the transformation of outer nature, the outer being, the personality that is, the thoughts, the feelings, the body. So again and again, one has to go within, then come back with wisdom to the outer, then again go within. So it's like, we have to do these movements again and again until fully the outer being gets transformed, with the grace, with divine grace. So now she is saying that because there is some darkness and resistance in the outer, I am trying to come in to be in touch with that divinity that I have tasted, I've been with, but as if I can't enter. So the sublime door has closed again. So you can't be in touch with that beauty which you have glimpsed. It's not that that was not real, it was real. But right now you are in darkness, you're with challenge, you're with something where you are feeling helpless, how to go about it. So the sublime door has closed again, and I find myself still on the threshold. So neither here nor there. You're in between. Full light is not there, but the darkness you can see right in front, stretching out in front. Threshold of the sanctuary without being able to enter within. So I know that there is a sanctuary here. Why? Because I have tasted it. I've lived it, but I'm not able to access it, as if the door is locked, closed. One is struggling to be back home, but one can't be back home. But so how mother, again in every prayer we see the highest possible attitude, how to take it. This situation where we are struggling to find our way back towards our true home, towards our divine self within, towards an ease within, light within. One is not able to find the way. So what is the highest possible attitude, the right attitude? But I have learned to look at everything with a smile and a tranquil heart. So one knows that it's just a matter of time. So one knows, one has tasted that divinity, and one knows that it's just a matter of time. Since everything is run by divine grace, this too must have some purpose. And I'm sure that's where, when we are really, really certain, then that's where we can have a tranquil heart and smile, even in the midst of that darkness. So, but I have learned to look at everything with a smile and a tranquil heart. I ask only this of thee. So, what is the prayer? What is the invocation in such a state? I ask only this of thee, O my divine master, not to let me make any mistakes. So, even when I am in such a state where it's like not a fully conscious, fully enlightened state, the prayer that arises from that state is that in this state where I can commit mistakes, O my divine master, not to let me make any mistakes, even if the instrument is still condemned for a time to unconsciousness. So I don't know how long this darkness is going to stay. Let it stay. I will, be working through it. But in this state of unconsciousness, in state of this weariness, don't let me commit any mistakes. What beauty. That's the prayer. So there is a true intention for a purification within. That's where such kind of a prayer can come out, that there is no hidden agenda, no manipulative agenda that I want to get through. Grant that it may let itself be guided faithfully and docilely by thy divine law. So, even in the state of not very enlightened state, the only prayer is that comes out that let this state also, you can make use of it. Please make use of it. And not let me commit any mistakes in this state where I am. I bow to thee, O Lord, with a deep and pure devotion. And again, Mother takes in everyone, along. I bow to thee, O Lord, with a true and deep devotion, deep and pure devotion. O, be the sovereign master of all hearts. So, not just my heart. So, that's where in every prayer, Mother takes the collective in picture. Be the sovereign master of all hearts. That's where we connect this. I personally connect this with the Tonglen practice in Buddhism, where through our own pain, we get in touch with all the pain and wish everyone beauty, purity, and devotion. So, anyone here? And I want to share something from Sri Aurobindo here, from his writings, but maybe after some reflections. Yeah.
Yeah, just a slight thought that it's weird that how in each and every prayer, you find that relation, you find it to be relatable. Like it feels like, how's that possible? That, oh, I was just experiencing this. Oh, I was just thinking about this, kind of a thing. And it sounds cliche because I know we say it every time. And yet I mean, there's something there, right? It can't be just coincidence,
Yeah.
coincidence that how, we every story is us or something like this, and
Yeah.
like, and we don't accept it, right? I don't accept it that everybody is touching the same space. It seems like my space. So just makes me more grounded to see this. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So I think this can be our tool, one of the tools, along with several others that we have. That that when we find ourselves in situations which are, we can't make sense of it, we are not in that beautiful state that we have earlier touched already in our lives. I think this can be a beautiful mantra or a tool, that to invoke, still keep invoking the divine and knowing that, let me not make any mistakes. I think that itself is so purifying, when we inwardly can say that even in this situation, I know I'm not in the best of my conditions, but still, the only prayer is that let me not make any mistakes. Really amazing. Yeah. So I want to share something from Sri Aurobindo here, where he says that, um, and also Mother, when Mother says that when we give too much importance to our defects, then we actually lack trust and grace. So this is what Mother is showing us in this particular prayer, that the defect may be there, the darkness is there, the challenge is there, unconsciousness may be there, but not to identify with that defect. So still she's saying that whatever it is, but you are the most omnipotent, you are all powerful, so let me invoke you. So again, we not to lose trust in grace, knowing that yes, all our defects can be borne by the divine, can be transmuted, transformed by the divine. So invoking that light rather than identifying, why am I here? Oh, I'm still here. I keep doing this again and again. So all that is just reinforcing our identification with the defects rather than using the same energy towards invoking grace. And nothing is impossible for grace. So yeah, that's a good utilization of time. And Sri Aurobindo says, something. I've Maybe I'll just put it on share. I've just copied and pasted it. Uh, and some of us can maybe read it. Yeah, so this one in the notes. So it's about how it's not an easy process, complete purification, and one has to, again, if one rejects something somewhere and then it comes back, then one rejects again, then comes back, and it keeps coming back until there is full, complete purification. So that's the process we all go through. We don't have to get frustrated about it. So I just copied and pasted a couple of things here, these 3 paragraphs, if anyone would like to read them.
Yeah, Monica, I'll read.
Yeah, please go ahead.
There is no difficulty about explaining how a thought rejected by one person gets picked up by another. You are as naive and ignorant as a newborn lamb. That is the way things come. Only one does not notice. Thoughts, ideas, happy inventions, etc., etc., are all always wandering about in thought waves or otherwise, seeking a mind that may embody them. One mind takes, looks, rejects, another takes, looks, accepts. Two different minds can catch the same thought form or thought wave, but the mental activities being different make different results out of them. Or it comes to one and he does nothing, then it walks off, crying, "Oh, this unready animal," and goes to another who promptly annexes it and it settles into expression with the joyous bubble of inspiration, illumination, or enthusiasm, or original discovery, or creation. And the recipient cries proudly, I have done this. Ego, sir, ego, you are the recipient, the conditioning medium, if you like, nothing more. Beautiful. So, shall I read the next one also?
Uh,
Or will
yeah,
have
maybe
some?
we can pause here, take reflection,
Yeah.
and then, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for it. Yeah, any reflections, anyone?
So it's so beautiful. It's the thoughts. If one does not take the thought comes to the other person and it enters nicely. Oh, this is beautiful. Excellent. Thank you, Monica, for bringing this out. Oh, I've never thought this way. Because maybe they are open. Anyone can pick up what they want. The same incident can go into your mind in different way for different people. Oh, this is beautiful. That means everywhere the energy is there, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
also how he says that even two different minds can catch the same thought but express it in a different way. That too is there. That he says that two different minds, it's like, imagine that there are two different kind of curtains with different patterns on it, and
Mm.
there is light from behind, and one curtain will reflect it in a different way because of the pattern, that he had, it has on it, and the other one will uh, kind of filter out the light in a different way. So since our minds are different because of the conditioning that they have, so two different minds catch the same thought form or thought wave, but the mental activities being different make different results out of them. Yeah? And also to see that these are always floating around, and one can either take it, or it goes away, or again become receptive to it, or maybe just reject it. And how he says that you are as naive as a ignorant as a newborn. Yeah. Mm.
And Monica, can you come to this line, or it comes to one and he does nothing, then it walks off. Can you say something on it?
Yeah, I don't know. Really, I think for me it was very funny that the thought wave is just floating around and it tries to enter and the person doesn't notice it. Many a times there are ideas that we get, but we don't really do anything about it. We just kind of ignore those ideas. So as if the thought is saying that, oh, this unready animal. So, so rather than, understanding it more, I found it very funny. Yeah. 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 But then again, as he says that to the other, it may just go to the other one, and that one may express it with inspiration, illumination, and some as if something original I have done. But then immediately the ego comes and claims it, right? The ego is always ready to claim anything that, oh, I did that, I had that beautiful experience. And there we again become very limited and, yeah, trapped in that separate self.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It is, yeah, very beautiful, revelatory. So maybe we can also go about this one, the next one. Yeah, Shadaji, if you want, maybe you can continue.
Yeah, I'll read.
Yeah.
What you perceive as suggestions or voices are accepted and felt by people to be thoughts of their own mind. I'll read it again. What you perceive as suggestions or voices are accepted and felt by people to be thoughts of their own mind. When one practices yoga and observes the thoughts, one sees that they come from outside, from universal nature, from the mental, vital, or subtle physical worlds, etc. The proper thing is then to stand back from these thoughts, voices, or suggestions, to reject them or else control them, to make the mind free and quiet and open only to the divine light, force, knowledge, and the presence of the divine. Your mistake has been to allow free play to these thoughts, voices, and suggestions instead of rejecting, silencing, and controlling them. It is what you must now do. Aspire, get into contact with the light and the true force. Reassert your will to reject these suggestions and voices. Do not take interest in these voices. Keep the mind quiet. So here, Monica, I would like to share something. See, when during Navratri time, so we used to do this, reading of Devi Mahatmya. This every day I will read one chapter from Devi Mahatmya. So one of the days when the chapter came, the Devi was fighting with who's that? Rakta Bija. So when I was reading the shloka, something in me was saying, all this is don't read. Don't read this. No use of reading all that. I could clearly hear the voice. Then I was thinking, why does the voice says like that? Because, when the Devi is fighting with the Asura, she takes lot of forms. Some 7, 8 Shaktis are coming out of the Devi and all are trying to swallow the Asuras. Because when each drop of blood is shedding from Raktabija, he becomes 100 and thousands. So Goddess is trying to swallow all the Asuras, including Raktabija. When I was reading that, I could hear all this is bogus. Don't read this. Don't read this. Clearly, I could hear the voice. Then I sat in front of the mother only. Then I said, I just closed the book and I was concentrating on the mother. Then I thought, no, I think this is not right. See, I'm trying to do something, but why should the voice tell me, don't read this, don't read this? Then I stopped for some time, maybe 5 minutes. I concentrated and meditated. Then I started reading. Then I prayed the mother, Mother, I'm getting this voice. I don't want to listen to it. So maybe it is my, somehow is my ego, or I don't know what is that.
No, I think you shared it at a very, very good moment because we just read this and he's sharing that what you perceive as suggestions or voices, which exactly what you are sharing, are accepted and felt by people to be thoughts of their own. Usually we think that, oh, this is my thought, right?
Yeah, even I felt the same. My mind is, somewhere it is not good. That is why it is giving me all the suggestions.
Yeah, but now he shares, Sri Aurobindo shares, but when we practice yoga, then when we begin to observe thoughts, then we see that there is nothing personal about these thoughts. These are just suggestions floating around in these, all around us. And somehow we take it in. So why to take that so seriously? That's what he's sharing, when one practices yoga and observes the thoughts, one sees that they come from outside. From
But Monica,
yeah.
beautiful, because I always think that, I'm not good. Something in me is telling me, to do it. It's my badness,
Again, this is also a thought, no? I am not good. So first we did not notice that one coming, but you noticed that, thankfully you did notice that, okay, it's coming in and suggesting that, okay, stop reading, right?
Yes.
So you noticed that, but you did not notice that I am not good again is a thought coming from outside,
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So there is nothing like which is coming from within and which you can own. You don't have to own these thoughts. These are very impersonal. They can come to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
beautiful.
what, yeah, he's helping us to know that when one sees that they are coming from outside, from universal nature, right? So even this thought that, oh, maybe I'm not good, I am sure you are not the only person that had this thought, it comes to each one of us, right?
Okay.
And that is the common, like a world
Yeah.
of thoughts where it is kind of coming from to each one of us. So he is helping us to know that these are coming from outside, from universal nature, from mental, vital, or subtle physical worlds. The proper thing is then to stand back from these thoughts. So just like you rejected the earlier one which said, okay, Sarda, don't read. This is bogus.
Yeah.
One also has to stand back from the thought that, oh, maybe I'm not good. But that's also a thought. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you for sharing such a beautiful example. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, see, here afterwards, when any thought comes, we can step back and see.
Yes.
See, that day I didn't know all this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stop reading. Since I'm not good, see, always that is there going on in my mind. See, I'm not good. That is why, something in me is telling that don't read this. So that is not correct.
Yes.
So this has something else.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Here afterwards, we can step back and see from, what is the voice from
Yes.
where it is.
And notice the voice and just do not engage with that voice.
Yeah.
We don't have to engage with everything, right? Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the proper thing is then to stand back from these thoughts, voices, or suggestions, to reject them or else control them, to make the mind free and quiet. So this is what we were reading yesterday also in the synthesis of yoga, when we are stepping back in the witness purusha from thoughts, from feelings, from emotions, all the disturbing things we are stepping back from, as we take the stance as witness, then only the mind can be free and quiet. To make the mind free and quiet, and parallelly, what are we doing? Just like Shardaji was sharing, opening to the mother, and open only to the divine light, force, knowledge, and the presence of divine. So this has to be the parallel process. So parallelly, I am doing the neti, which is the rejection, that this thought I don't have to engage with, I can step back, and I'm stepping back in the mother. So I have a positive force with me. It's not that I'm stepping back in just empty negation. I am stepping back into the mother, into any form of divine that I connect with. Your mistake, I think he's replying to a sadhak, your mistake has been to allow free play to these thoughts. So anyone can, in Kabir's language, he says that if you don't keep a guard on your periphery and allow all the thoughts to freely play, then they will eat up your peace, they will kind of spoil your garden. That's what he says. And in Hindi, it is mirgane khet ujada. So the deer of senses, all that we hear, we see, we think about, these deers of senses, they have ruined your inner garden. That's what happens when we are not conscious, we are not vigilant to step back. Then the free play happens, each thought is doing its play inside our being, and we are just very drained and exhausted. So your mistake has been to allow free play to these thoughts, voices, and suggestions instead of rejecting, silencing, and controlling them. It is what you must do now. Now that we know, okay, this is what I was doing, but that was not beneficial. Now let me do what here he's suggesting. Aspire, get into contact with the light and true force. Reassert your will to reject these suggestions and voices. So all the suggestions that take us down and down, we have to reject them. We have to be vigilant about them, that yes, they are coming, and then we have to step back, not to listen to them. Just show it to the mother, these are coming, these belong to you. I don't have anything to do with these. But the problem is that many a times we give it to the mother, but we keep taking back. So that taking back, I think we have to be conscious of that. Once given to the mother, we don't have to take back. So aspire, get into contact with the light and true force, reassert your will to reject these suggestions and voices. Do not take interest. This is where I think the catch is. Do not take interest in these voices. Keep the mind quiet. What we do is we are very actively interested in what the stories are forming in my mind. Very active interest we take. But when mother's presence becomes more interesting for us, that no, nothing doing, no matter how promising they may feel, I still will remain with the mother and not engage. Then only a quietness in the being can be there. So I think this is also very good, not to take interest in whatever suggestions are coming inside our head. They are not true, they are not true, they are not true. And then the mind can be quiet. And when the mind is quiet, then of course we become available to all the intuitive guidance and insights, so that we can take decisions, and whatever needs to be done can be done. Yeah, anything here, anyone?
Yes, Monica, sadly, we do not know, these thoughts are coming from outside. So, as Sri Aurobindo says, your mistake has been to allow free play of these thoughts. We don't even know. Many a times we don't even know. That is why.
Absolutely, yes. So now we see, with this
Yeah.
information, we can see that there is nothing personal about them, like they belong to me, my possession. They just come to everyone, and just like that, they are coming to me, and they are not originally mine. So now we can begin the rejection. And what we can reject is that which is not ours. That also is true. I cannot reject my own self, right? It's impossible to reject my own true self. I can't ever, ever, ever do that. I can't dissociate with that. And that's why it is my true self, because I'm totally that. So, whatever we can reject, it is a proof that that's not my true self. We can reject thoughts, although they may keep coming back, but we can reject. So, that's the very proof that it is not belonging to my true nature. Yeah.
So, Monica, this
Yes.
can be even feelings, right?
Yes. Same for the feelings. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feeling
Yes. And mostly what we have is the
fear.
feelings like exactly fear, jealousy, all these disturbing things, which go in loop again and again, again and again. These are the ones which we have to step back from. This is what Sri Aurobindo calls as the outer surface consciousness. And only when we keep stepping back from the surface consciousness can we get in touch consciously with our true consciousness.
Mm.
Yeah. And this can also be done, many masters have done this, that they have even stepped back from the body consciousness, where they have, maybe some surgery to be done in their body, and they say that, you do it without anesthesia. How can one do that? One can only do that when one has so established oneself in that true consciousness, that the body consciousness one is, able to see at not as the body, not me, not my true self, just the outer instrument. And that day I was sharing this example of, this Vietnamese Zen monk who burned himself alive during the Vietnamese war, as a call for compassion from the world. And when he was burning himself, like he did not move an inch, he did not really move even a little bit when his body is burning. How can one do that? It means that is possible, no? That to be stepped back into one's true consciousness so strongly that body is burning and you're not moving an inch. So that is our capacity, that not only stepping back from mental thoughts and feelings, but even stepping back from the body. That's where we fail mostly. If there is a pain, oh my God, it's a pain. We are we are so identified with the body consciousness. Yeah. Yeah. Anything more here? Anyone? Okay, so then maybe we can take this last bit again by Sri Aurobindo. Yeah. Sharda ji, you want to go
Yeah,
ahead?
I'll read.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, all these thoughts and influences come really from outside, from universal nature. They create formations in us or get habitual responses from the individual being. When they are rejected, they go back into the external universal nature, and if one becomes conscious, one can feel them coming from outside and trying to get a lodging inside again, or reawaken. Monica, I'm not, yeah, 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 reawaken, external, reawaken the habitual response. One has to reject them persistently till no possibility of response remains any longer. This is hastened much if a certain inner calm, purity, and silence can be established, from which these things fall away without being able to touch it. Monica, I'm not able to understand this
Yeah,
sentence.
yeah.
This,
We'll just go over it again. So
yeah, yeah.
so all these thoughts, I think again what we were discussing earlier, all these thoughts and influences come really from outside. So I think this really is very helpful to know that we don't have to take our thoughts so personally. We can be a little objective about them. All these thoughts and influences come really from outside, from universal nature. They create formations in us or get habitual responses from the individual being. So, what is an habitual response here? For example, if I get uh, a thought like Shardaji was sharing, oh, I am not good enough, or I am maybe unfit for this. Immediately the mood sinks and one gets disappointed. Yeah. So dullness sinks and there is a vital disappointment. This is my reaction to what came from outer. What came from outer was, oh, I'm not fit. I'm not good enough. What was my habitual response? Oh, how long would I be, need to be here? I've been on this path for so long. When will it happen? When will it happen? So this is my response. Habitual response. Every time that thought comes, I sink in. Every time that thought comes, I sink in. So this is a habitual response from the being. And again, everyone's response would be variable. It would be different. Now when they are rejected, they go back. Now either I give it some response, but when I'm able to reject, when they are rejected, they go back into the external universal nature. So it's not that I have gotten rid for of it forever. Once is if I was able to reject this thought that, oh, I'm not good enough or I am unfit for yoga, once if I am able to reject it successfully, it is still there hanging around in universal nature. And if one becomes conscious, one can feel them coming from outside and trying to get a lodging inside again. So again, the guest has come back. One day you rejected the guest, the second day the guest comes back again. The third day it comes back again. The fourth day it may come back again. So it's not that once you have rejected, door closed, done. Doesn't happen like that. That's why Sri Aurobindo in that poem, The God's Labor, he says that every battle fought has to be refought. Every enemy slain revives again. So this is how we have to persist. So when one is conscious, then one can notice, oh, this thought I rejected, a month ago, but now it has come back again. But I don't again have to entertain it. So, and if one becomes conscious, one can feel them coming from outside. When will I feel it coming from outside? The question is, when my inner being now is used to a different state of being. There is more quiet inside, more calm inside. I do not entertain every thought and feeling. Then, when the feeling comes or thought comes, which is very disturbing, then I will be able to see it as a visitor, as a guest. Otherwise, no chance. So, the inner sanctity, that's what we were reading in this prayer, that the inner temple has to be made really clean, 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 and more clean. So that each drop of poison is checked and it doesn't have a free play. So it'll try coming from outside and trying to get a lodging inside or reawaken the habitual response. This is so funny. So now that thought comes again as if checking on us. Hey, is anyone still home? Something like that. And it is waiting for the same habitual response to reawaken. What did I do when the earlier times it used to come the same thought? When the thought comes, I'm not good enough. I would sulk. I would go into disappointment, depression. So it is waiting as if trying to trigger, is anyone home? Is anyone home? No, but now when the person has changed, when we have left our older self behind, then there is no one home. So there is no reaction. That's where our test is. Because if it still triggers me, it still disappoints me, then it means that trace of that ego consciousness still lives in me like a zombie. It is still living alive in me. So that's the test of my dissolution of the older non-beneficial self, that when it comes again, it finds, no, the person is not home. That person which that thought is looking for, from which the habitual response it used to get. Now there is no one to react. No anger, no frustration, no disappointment, no one home. So how long will it stay then? It will just go away. It will just go away because there is no one who to entertain that thought. So it will try to get a lodging inside. Amazing, really, the beauty of image he's creating here. Lodging inside again and or reawaken the habitual response. One has to reject them persistently till no possibility of response remains any longer. So you have just outgrown that older thought. It's like how we, like when we are children, we are fond of certain sweets or we are fond of, some teddy bears or toys. But if the same thing is now in front of us as adults, it will not awaken any response in us. Now the teddy bear doesn't inspire me anymore. Now something else may inspire, right? Now the same sweet lollipop candy, I would rather stay away. So there is no response in me towards that outer trigger. So one has to reject them persistently till no possibility of response remains any longer. This is hastened. This process becomes more faster. This is hastened much if a certain inner calm, purity, and silence can be established from which these things fall away without being able to touch it. How beautiful! Like, how we keep chanting mother's name, for example, inwardly. So when we are chanting, mother's name, it's like we are giving us a non-sticky covering. You know how a non-stick covering is? You put a drop on the pan and the drop doesn't stick. It's not absorbing it. It just, kind of falls away. So when we are steeping ourselves with mother's name, any divine name, or in the depths of our silences, that creates that calm, and that divine name creates a non-sticky covering on us. Now that thought comes, that trigger comes from outside, but it slips away, it falls away. There is no one to react to it. So it doesn't stick, it doesn't stay. There is no invitation from within. So that's the beauty he's sharing, that this would be much faster a process if a certain calm, purity, that we want nothing but the mother, nothing but a silence within. That intention must be there. Purity and silence can be established from which these things fall away, like really chikna ghada in Hindi we say, non-sticky surface, without being able to touch it. So this is what we have to do. Yeah. Any comments, any reflections here, anyone? So many a times, we are saying that, oh, that person, he just annoys me. Every time I think of him, I get annoyed. Every time he speaks, I get annoyed, frustrated, or being in fear or disappointed. That person is going to stay in my life for as long as he reawakens the habitual response in me. We can be really, really sure about it. That person will continue to behave in that way unless something in me actually dies and stops giving that habituated response to that outer trigger.
So that means we should, our reaction should change.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
Very beautifully. I think whole session is for me only.
For all of us, you can be sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, very beautiful. I think sometimes, this last thing that you said now, like habituated response, sometimes that habituated response can be a silence which needs to be changed also,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what I
Absolutely.
realized.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Any rigidity in which we have gotten stuck. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Sorry,
Sorry,
can you
what was Shweta saying? I didn't quite.
can you repeat that again?
So
Yeah.
Shweta is sharing that sometimes there is an outer trigger, and my usual habituated response is that I stay silent. I am not able to speak anything. That's my habitual response. So she was sharing that at times this has to change, that I'm able to speak up where I used to just go silent. Right? One is not able to express
Okay.
oneself. So that habituation has to change in this case.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Right, yeah. But so these paragraphs today, I mean, they definitely, it makes you think. And then sometimes the whole point of, you know, to 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 actually coordinate every day of your life with, the the outer world or whatever that you want to, sometimes, while reading this, I'm just trying to say that sometimes everything else seems so pointless, right?
Mm. Mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
not pointless when I say, not in the sense that, yeah, because sometimes there are, like I realize that, past couple of days we've been just sort of struggling with one simple thing, like, just to find a good school for my daughter.
Mm.
And there are these criterias that, the forms that you have to fill, the things that you have to, and the thing is, no, yes, you have your own journey as a parent or as a person, or, but now the same rigor, right? I mean, like yesterday we were talking about, I think in the, no, I was listening to your heroic heart today,
Mm.
and the previous one, and the questions in that was so nice. I mean, there were so many questions, right, in that previous
Mm.
so are we again, is that the same cycle again, that our children have to go through, because there is this, yeah, they
Yeah.
have their own journey, and how much ever you probably, not about wanting to explain, or even in your small ways, being silent, as Shweta said,
Mm.
there are times that you can't say anything beyond that, right?
Mm.
You have to let them go through
Mm.
that particular path, whatever that they have chosen. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. True.
yeah, thank you.
True. Thank you. Mm. I think the point is that we don't know the larger picture. We don't know how each person's life has to unfold, what is the best for them. So that person may be my own child, but since I don't even know about how my life has to unfold, how can I be sure of even my child's, of whom I claim to be the parent? So that grounding again, I think as a parent also we have to uh, be at that ground. And for me, again, I too am a parent, and how I make so far, solace with it is that whenever any anxiety or concern comes up, just again and again offering everything to the mother, telling her that, of course, she knows, but tell my own self that just I am a child of the mother, just like that, they are also children of the mother. So we are all on the same
Right.
ground.
Ground,
So
yeah.
then somehow it helps me to shed off my burden as a parent.
Yeah.
That, oh, I am a little child of the mother, and they are also little children of the mother. So, if I am taken care of course they are being taken care of.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
times I think I fall into greater anxiety when I think that, oh no, I am the parent and I have to do something about it. There
Yeah, no,
yeah.
true. And I think, like how they said, how in the first para it says, no, that the thought can, filter, and probably the other person can catch it, right?
Yes, yes.
And it happened to me this morning. I mean, like when my daughter came back today, she said, what ma, if I don't get into the any of the schools, like you have applied, and I have applied, I mean, thinking that, okay, ek karenge, do karenge, maximum teen karenge. So what if I don't get in any one of them, and suddenly you have caught that, right? I mean, it happened. So you've caught it, and it is so true. I mean, then I of course I didn't say anything कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं. I was so tempted to say, right? Oh नहीं नहीं ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता है ऐसे. I mean, हो भी सकता है. I mean, can also happen. But I didn't want to get trapped in that again, because you realize that obviously for a 15-year-old, this is right now the end of the world if she doesn't get into, or he, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But to explain that, but the probably the state that you are in, or you have understood after so many years of your own experience, and knowing that yes, mother is there, and we will. But then I mean, as a mom or as a mother, then you suddenly like, oh, and yes, then you pause and
Yes,
but it's
yes.
so easy to get caught up in
Yes,
that,
absolutely. It's very easy.
and that the
And
worldly thing just
the thing is that since we notice that how a child is so connected and tuned in with a parent's thoughts, like you shared that your thought got transmitted somehow to her as well, and you saw that. Just like we see that can happen, if there is a solid, unshakable faith in us, that too spreads like a contagion. So that's my task.
right.
The fear may be there, of course, we are all human beings, and the fears may from time to time come up about everything. But what I do with that fear, how I transform it, how I transmute it, that process also gets into that child.
In child,
Yes. That, oh, yes, I saw the fear, but then I give it to the mother. So that unshakable faith, I feel that this is such a power, especially with parents, especially I think with mothers more often than, or maybe the parent who is more connected with the child. At times it is one of the parents, either father or the mother, who is more in tune with the child's thoughts and feelings. So that we can use it to our own empowerment. That if my fears and anxieties can get transferred into the child, so too my unshakable faith, if I work on myself, if I stabilize myself in mother's consciousness, that too will have its ripple effect.
right.
So focusing there, I
There,
feel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these days, I mean, after I have, it's been a constant, it's an effort, definitely.
It's an
I mean,
effort, yeah.
yeah, every time, I mean, I say to myself, I say it in my mind, I keep like sort of when I'm driving or something, and I say, this is for you, please show me, because I truly don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, don't have an answer, and I don't have the sometimes to even, like to comfort, right? To comfort the other person's pain, or struggle that they are going through.
True.
It is like how you shared, right? That this person who is in the hospital and the cognitive functions are not working. What do you do as another human being, right? At that point, and how do you I mean, sometimes to comfort your own child or another person who has just simple fever, they, because I mean, obviously that, like you said, the vital is taking over, right? And fever hai, cold hai, and you can see that the other person is like going through so much, doctor ke paas jana hai. And then sometimes you think, what should I do? Should I now just leave it and say, okay, let me, let mother take care of it, or sometimes a comfort, no, ke nahi, tum whatever, sometimes, to have a what do you call it, like you would offer a, a glass of milk with little bit of, all those things that you put into it, and so
I think
it is an effort,
when one is invoking something within, invoking the divine within, then in context-based situation, we get, okay, intuitively, what do I do in this
Right.
situation? We do get the
Yeah.
guidance. Yeah. Mm.
Right.
Yes. Just like in this prayer, mother is asking that I'm not in the best of my situation, but please don't let me, commit any mistakes and still make use of this situation. So
Right.
if that prayer can be with us, something like that, I think then even if we are in from time to time difficult, challenging situations where we don't know what is the best step ahead, if I can just pray that mother, may this step be of benefit to the other person and me, I think that will guide our way.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So any last comments? I think the next prayer maybe we can take next time. Enough reflections for today. And I'll paste in the WhatsApp group all these sharings from Sri Aurobindo that we read today. Yeah.
Monica, you need to add me into that WhatsApp group.
Yeah, you are not there. Yes.
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
add it. I
Thank
add
you.
you. Yeah, today. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So if not anything, maybe just taking last moment, a few seconds to share the understanding, the joy, the delight of reading all these beautiful words, and the peace that we may have with all the sentient beings. May everyone have peace at heart, in the minds, and lots of joy and progress in life. Okay. Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening, sharing, and reflecting together. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Monica.
you.
Thank you.
Beautiful session.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you, Shardaji. Thank you, Nandini. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank